Yo, what is up, guys? And today I'm going to be giving you guys my week 2 predictions. So, this is the second video coming out this week. I know I took a little bit of a break. I probably should have said that in the last video, but I took a little bit of a break, kind of just waiting for stuff to happen in the college football world. Wasn't much to talk about before the season started, and then week 0 and week 1. So here you guys go. I did my week 0 and week 1 thoughts and reactions, and now I'm going to give you guys my predictions to some of the big games in week 2. So starting off, the big one listed first on the schedule here, so I got to talk about it, is Texas, Michigan. Michigan, I didn't really talk about the top teams in week 1 who played against weaker teams like Texas, Oregon, Alabama, Ole Miss, Michigan, teams of that matter who played against weaker teams. But Texas, looked good. The defense, I think, legitimately looked good. Colorado State has one of the more underrated QB wide receiver duos in the country with Braden Fowler, Nicolosi, and then Torrey Horton, who is a stud at the wide receiver position. That Mountain West Conference has a bunch of really solid wide receivers, and I'm not totally sure why, but they do. Um, but Texas obviously handled them without any issue, and I think they shut them out too. Michigan, unfortunately, I don't think the same can be said about them against Fresno State, another solid Mountain West team, who I think might be better than Colorado State, but not that much better to the point where it was a neck and neck game in the fourth quarter. I think, and I think a lot of Michigan fans agree with me. I didn't actually see the game, but obviously from a lot that I'm hearing, the Davis Warren situation at QB needs to be fixed. You know, whether it is they bring someone new in or he just improves over the course of the season, I don't exactly know, but I think that's going to need to be improved, and it's going to need to be improved this week against Texas. Just going off of what I've seen in week 1, I know Michigan has college game day. I think it has big noon kickoff as well, and I know it's going to be absolutely just an amazing environment there in Ann Arbor. But with that being said, I think it was last week too, and it was a very uncomfortably close game for the Wolverines. So I will take Texas. In my preseason SEC video, I picked Texas to go 12-0. I feel like I'm already regretting that. Not because of anything that I've seen so far, but I Texas and 12-0. I don't know. I don't know, but I do have Texas winning this one. The QB situation, if Michigan were to win, the QB is whoever it is this week, Davis, Warren, Alex Orji, someone else. Um Whoever it is going to have to step up and be much better than they were in week 1, that's for sure. But I do have Texas winning. What's the spread for this one? 7.5. It's an interesting spread. I feel like Michigan could cover. I think Michigan will cover. I'll say it's within a possession of a game, but I do have Texas winning. Not that I bet or anything, but you know, um, just putting it out there. Um, a game that I think might be very interesting, also at the 11 a.m. slot, is Georgia Tech Syracuse. Obviously, talked about Georgia Tech in the last video with that dominant run game that they showed against Florida State. And I'm sure they showed it against Georgia State. I didn't watch that game. I didn't see any highlights or anything, but I'm sure they did fine. I think they won by about 30 points or so. So, I think Georgia Tech has the tools to be, I don't know if I would say an ACC contender, especially with that difficult of a schedule, but I think they do have maybe a dark horse contender talent level in Atlanta there, but they have a very interesting matchup here against Syracuse on the road. Year one for new head coach Fran Brown after Dino Babers left Syracuse, and I think he's the OC for Arizona now, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be a very interesting game. I think don't be surprised if it's a lot closer than you might expect it to be, but, you know, it's going to be interesting. Two big school guys, Haynes King from Texas A&M, Kyle McCord from Ohio State, and now both at maybe subjectively smaller schools in the ACC. I think I do see Georgia Tech winning that, but maybe it's, as I said, a little closer than expected. Iowa State, Iowa, both those teams were playing much closer than I think they should have, especially in the first half. It was no surprise that Iowa, even with a new offensive coordinator, Tim Lester, got off to a nice 6-0 start at the half. Man, I mean, they just they cannot they cannot fix that offense. It's it's incredible, honestly, how bad that offense is year after year. But with that being said, they have also been appearing in multiple Big Ten championships throughout the past couple of years. Now, whether that trend continues, I doubt, especially with the no divisions anymore. So you could have Oregon and Ohio State duking it out in Indianapolis. But, I think Iowa um, obviously poured it on late in the second half. I think it is at Kinnick Stadium, which is always a good sign. And, I think Iowa's been typically pretty dominant in this series as of recently. Whether or not there are any Iowa State fans watching this, I don't know, but hopefully you're not too offended by that. So, Iowa at home, obviously very low scoring game. I think the over under is around 35, 36 in that area. I think that's a pretty solid line. It's going to be teens versus teens, if you get what I'm saying, like 17-13 or something along those lines. I do see Iowa winning, though. Iowa State, it's a solid team. It's a team with a lot of experience, headlined by quarterback Rocco Becht, but I just don't see the Cyclones winning this one. I do see Iowa taking the dub in the Cy-Hawk series, I think, as they call it. Florida A&M versus Miami. No, I'm just playing. Hopefully we win that. I don't think I have to make a prediction here. Hopefully. But it'll be exciting to play the best team in Tallahassee this week, if you get what I'm saying. We're going into the night games here. Tennessee, NC State. I think this is, based on week one and how the teams played, I think it's a very easy choice. I think if the week one versions of those two teams meet, then I think Tennessee steamrolls NC State in Charlotte. But, I was very excited to see what Grayson McCall could do at NC State. You know, he's been successful at the Group of Five level with Coastal Carolina, and I was very excited to see what he can do. Not that, you know, one game defines the season, but that was against Western Carolina. So hopefully he turns it around against Tennessee this weekend. Again, obviously they looked pretty solid, but that was against Chattanooga. I think anyone could look solid against Chattanooga. Even Florida could look solid against that team. So, you know, I think Tennessee obviously doesn't take a genius to say this, but I think if week one is indicative of what we're going to see in week two, I think Tennessee will have not a lot of problems there. But, you know, I think it could be a close game. I do have Tennessee winning, though. The spread for that one is a 10-point Tennessee favor. So, you know, I think that's an interesting spread, to be honest. I think if it's a blowout, I think Tennessee will have the advantage, but I think NC State will have the advantage in those more close games, if that makes any sense. Colorado, Nebraska. Well, first off, I'm going to tell you guys who I hope wins. I hope Nebraska respectfully beats the crap out of Colorado. Whoever that sicko was that voted Colorado in the AP poll, I just don't understand. But, you know, I guess I'm not an AP poll voter. Maybe I should be, but it is what it is. Dylan Raiola, again, it's one of those situations. Yeah, he looked good, but I think anyone can look good against UTEP, so it is what it is. I think Nebraska, because of a number of different elements, will win this game. I think Matt Rule, obviously when he was at Baylor, he did a great job there and then headed up to the NFL with the Panthers, and I think that tarnished his reputation a bit. I think people forget how good he was at the college level, and I think this is a nice, big media platform for him to show that, and I think Nebraska wins this. Hopefully Colorado can stop thinking that they're everyone's Super Bowl. They're really not. So, yeah, that's my short thoughts on that game. Getting into the later games, Boise State and Oregon. I think Oregon, you know, it was a little close, definitely, with Idaho in that first game. It'll be interesting to see how Oregon handles that Ashton Jeanty guy. I mean, he was absolutely insane. He single-handedly catapulted himself into the Heisman conversation. 6 touchdowns as a running back in week 1. I mean, for me, it doesn't matter who you play, even. It's just like 6 touchdowns against an FBS team on the road, and they only won that game by like 10 points or so, I think. So it'll be interesting to see what the Oregon defense has as a response to Jeanty, but I do think Oregon responds. You know, I think Dan Lanning is going to get his guys right for a week 2 matchup, especially after disappointing in week 1 against Idaho and moving down in the AP poll for that matter. But I think Oregon takes this one handedly, hopefully, I think. I think it is fun to see Oregon win, you know. They're a fun team to see successful, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, those are just a few of my predictions for week 2 of the college football season, and I will see you guys in the next one, which will probably be a week 2 reaction when that does happen. So I'll see you guys then.